All right. Good evening and welcome to the Protection and Policy Committee for Monday, November 27th. It is currently 6:03 p.m. Roll call. Alder Morgan.
Present.
Alder Grant.
Present.
Alder Scannell.
Present.
Alder Stevens are all present.
Okay, thank you.
I take a motion to approve of the agenda.
I make a motion to amend the agenda.
Okay, is that a second?
Second.
I move that we move items 3 through 6 and number 11 to the top of our agenda.
Okay, do I have a
Second.
second? All in favor?
Aye.
Nays? Ayes have it.
Move to approve the agenda as amended.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nays? Ayes have it.
Okay.
All right, approval of the minutes for October 23rd, 2023.
I move to approve those minutes.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nays? Ayes have it. All right, on to regular business, number 11.
I move that we take items 3 through 6 as one in one.
One in one.
I move to event, one to them. Well, we did 3 through 6.
It doesn't matter.
Okay. Well then, number 11. Well, then
Yeah, you could do
is
3
that what
through
you're reading
6,
now?
yep.
Motion to suspend the rules for items 3 through 6.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
What would you like to do with them?
Well, we want to double check with staff, make sure there's,
3 through 6, if they suspend rules.
Any objections?
Multiple votes. Objections?
Okay, none.
None here.
concur?
Sure.
I move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nays? Ayes have it. On to number 11. An ordinance repealing and recreating section 42, 164 through 174 related to lead service water line replacement. Staff?
I'll defer to Logan, and also someone from the water utility is here to speak.
Alder?
Yeah, I can go first here. So from Lost perspective, we've been working with water to update this. As you know, we've been working to remove lead service lines from our waters, as well from the city side, as well from the consumer side. And this would just be the next step in accordance with following EPA standards. And so this is galvanized formerly downstream of lead. So it updates to be in accordance with what the EPA standards are. I know Water has a little more information. Would you like me to elaborate on all the services that are happening, or do you want to step in?
Sure, I can step in.
Okay.
Yeah, the previous
Dive in.
ordinance just pertained to private side lead services. So this is including private side galvanized once downstream of lead, because the EPA views galvanized once hooked to lead the same as lead. So we need to move forward and get the galvanized services out that were once hooked to lead. And the other part of the ordinance is that we're putting a timeline on. The timeline was a little hazy in the previous ordinance once we contacted the property owners. This is giving a 1-year time frame once we contact the property owners to get their galvanized service out. And there's currently a program right now. We have funding through the DNR to fund all 90 of the private side galvanized services, so there won't be one dime that the property owners need to spend. They just need to contact 3 of the contractors that we provide a list of pre-approved contractors. So if they call the contractors, get the paperwork signed, we take it from there, and then we'll reimburse, or pay the contractors and get reimbursed. So there's roughly 90 of these services that are out there to our knowledge in the city. That kind of sums it up.
I got a question.
Sure.
You have a question? We already, on our side, got all the lead out. Is there any on our side that's galvanized that needs to come out? From the city?
No.
We got that too?
Yep, we are good that way on our side.
Okay.
And all those residents have been contacted already?
Some have.
Okay.
Because we had a program the last 2 years, and we've actually removed, in the last 2 years, we've removed 650 private side services. Because we had DNR funding at 100% grant to get rid of those. So some of these 90 that are on the list right now were part of that original that we're trying to contact. So they just didn't follow through with getting the
Okay.
contractors. But we've secured more funding
Okay,
for the next 2 years.
okay. Will we make another attempt then with this approval to recontact them again?
Yes,
Okay.
definitely. Our intent is to get down to zero with this funding. We have enough money to get rid of all of them, and then we're
Okay.
gonna focus we're gonna go knock door to door, put hangers, call in, email, whatever we need to do, we want to get them out.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you, Brian. Accept a motion
A motion to approve it.
do we have a second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Nays? Ayes have it.
We'll go with the flow.
So now, go ahead.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Would you mind really quick just asking if the people on Zoom could hear us? Just want to confirm I'm gonna Alder Story, if you can hear us, can you unmute and just let us know that you can hear us, okay?
Yes.
Okay, Tara, thanks. Thank you, just checking. Sorry. Yes. Yeah, we're good. Just confirming they can hear us on Zoom. Thank you.
An answer.
We are ready with number one.
All right. For consideration of possible action on the visibility initiative strategic action plan that was referred to the projection policy committee from the November 7th, 2023 Common Council meeting.
I believe staff is here to speak on that.
Okay.
I guess I'm going to defer to the committee. I mean, it's referred from the council to the committee, so are there questions you guys have or concerns? I think Alder Burnett referred it back, making sure that the commission is aware of their, I guess, ability to attend events and make sure they don't represent the city as a whole. And I'm not sure if there's any other concerns other than that. I don't know what the, I guess, basis is to discuss it.
Well, did you hear from Alder Weary?
I saw the email.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Any responses to his?
I don't think so. I mean, I saw it this afternoon. I don't
I mean,
really have.
the ordinance prevents any member from being political, correct? I mean, they can't campaign or, that's what I thought, that was not,
Yeah, I believe that's for all commissioners and
right.
elected officials.
And they have no authority other than what we
Yeah,
give them.
that's correct.
I have some questions. As far as like open meeting laws go, how does that apply? Are they limited to how many people can attend certain events, or how are we gonna make these things public, recorded, all of, I guess,
Mhm.
legal wise, how is this happening?
Yeah, so any quorum issues, what would happen is if there's an event that the city puts on or that we're aware of, that members of the Equal Rights Commission will be there or Common Council will be there, we'll put out a notice that a quorum could occur, and that's all we have to do. As long as they're not conducting city business or making any decisions at those events, they can attend if we put notice. If we're not aware of the event going on, they just happen to be there, then there's no quorum issues because we were not aware of it, so we can't post it because there's no way to prevent that from happening.
Okay. And then as far as, is every event or idea, initiative come before us, before it happens, or how does that work?
I don't believe so, no. I think the Visibility Initiative talks about just events in general that I think the Equal Rights Commission will try to attend, but the Common Council won't be approving every event that they go to. It's more of just approving this initiative to put parameters on what they're trying to accomplish.
So is this mostly for events they want to attend or host and put on, or both?
I think it's both, but it's probably most likely to attend,
Okay.
like attend other community events.
Okay, and if they're there in public, I guess, and I don't know if this is a question for someone on the commission, but as far as, I know a lot of the stuff is like looking at the goals about voting and things like that. As they're out in the public more, I guess, I know we talked about the housing task force. What are the resources that they plan to point people to as far as, if they do have questions about voting? Are they specifically helping them, or are they sending them to the clerk's office for that? Who are they using?
They would send them to the clerk's office to help them with that.
And what about like housing stuff when we don't have a task force yet?
I think at this point in time, they'd send them to Community Economic Development, depending on what the issue is, or maybe the Housing Authority. Or it also could be, I forgot the Fair Housing Commission out of Milwaukee. That's who we contract with for up here as well. I think those would be where they'd be sent to.
Okay.
We also have, we still have a lawyer on retainer, correct, in case there's very landlord issues that.
It's not a lawyer, it's just an individual that helps with those issues with landlords. Yeah.
I've referred many people with that.
Getting back to Alderman Weary's suggestions, I was reading them, I kind of agree with a lot of this. We know that someone like Alderman Scannell that's sat at council for a decade knows a lot of this stuff. Would it hurt to put this in just so that the common person could read this and see it and kind of feel a little more comfortable, that doesn't know what the responsibilities or the rules are for council members? Or for committee members and chairs?
So something to the effect of not representing the city and like on behalf of the city, something like that. Yeah, I think that's okay. That could be added in to make it clear. Then also, I think what Alder Weary was asking about, to make sure that there's any, I guess, involvement with politics, elections, or candidates. I think that could be added, right, just to make it clear.
And then he mentioned using the word equal should be used more. I guess some of the wording on it he thought would be better, less biased.
I think with that, so Alder Weary wanted to use, instead of equity, wanted to use equality. I think that's from, working with the Equal Rights Commission on this, I think they would prefer to use equity, as there's a difference between equality and equity. And I don't think there's really any legal issue or policy issue between using equity or equality. I mean, there's a difference in perspective in why the Equal Rights Commission wants to use equity. Neither the chair or Alder Hutchison can explain that, but it's really up to the Common Council. I mean, if you want to take out the word equality, that's just kind of your opinion or decision to do that.
Does council have an opinion on, I know you do more contracts and read through that stuff, what sounds better to you?
No, I think Chief Alt's point is accurate, is that there's a difference in terminology, so if more discussion is needed, I would defer to the commission on their interpretations of what those mean, but they're definitely different.
And then this third one was remove any recommendations or mention of addressing people by certain self-proclaimed objectives. It says government has no role in determining what anyone must say, including any members of a commission.
Yeah, I'm just assuming, that's referring to individuals by the pronouns they prefer. And I think the Equal Rights Commission, obviously the chair, Alder Hutchison, can explain that, but I think the point of that is the Equal Rights Commission is trying to be inclusive, and if an individual prefers to go by a certain pronoun, they just want to respect that and use the pronoun. That's what I believe the intent was from the commission.
Would it be fair to talk to
Commissioner
Hutchison?
Sure.
Hutchinson and his opinions?
I think the term inclusion is important in response to that, because I have a sense there's a political drive with that question. There's nothing wrong with accepting what someone wants to be called when they're in the presence of a commission. We're not advocating any pronouns, we're accepting what people are called.
How about the other two matters? Any input on those?
But
Equity and equal?
Yeah.
I think, again, I don't know where this question's coming from. Again, I think there's a political intent behind it. I think the way the words are used in the report are fine, and I wouldn't recommend a change to that.
Why do you like equity?
Oh, it is kind of just discussing things in a matter-of-fact way. I don't know exactly what the difference is between the two words, but when you're talking in language that's inclusive and you're trying to adhere to federal standards, I think equity is just an appropriate word. I don't understand. I'd like to hear the reason why there should be a change.
Yeah. The staff, you said there is, I see, for me, it's equivalent. I didn't think there's really that much difference between the two words, but there is. What, perhaps if we could understand that a little better, what is the difference?
Well, typically, equality, or, I don't know if Chair Yang wants to jump in there.
We didn't open the floor.
Okay, no, sorry. Well, equality typically is where
We could open?
it's the same for individuals, and then equity is when you look at the situation and you're kind of more accommodating for individuals. So I guess an example would be when you look at like the chair, or excuse me, the stairs at City Hall. The stairs are the same for every single person, but someone that has disabilities in a wheelchair, the stairs are the same for them, but it's not going to be equitable for them to get to the second floor. So what's equitable is when you have an elevator that the person can use. So the stairs are the same for everyone, that's equal, but to be equitable for the person in the wheelchair, you put an elevator or a ramp in for them to get to the second floor. That's kind of the difference between it. So equal is just always the same across the board.
And I think equitability is what we're striving to identify, where we can be equitable, how we can be equitable, to be more welcoming to diverse populations with different needs.
I think that was the intent of the commission to do that.
Any other questions?
I don't know if this is a better question for Alder Hutchinson or staff. I guess why this commission versus other ones? I mean, we have many commissions. Why, I mean, this is the first one to have a public strategic plan. So I don't know who can answer that better.
Well, I think there is a need for the public to understand there is a Equal Rights Commission. And that's the goal of this whole report, is just to let constituents of the city know that there's an Equal Rights Commission. If they have issues or questions, they can come to the commission and ask. They can come to our meetings. A lot of people just don't know about it. The other commissions have been in existence for a long time. This commission is just a couple years. And so we're just getting our footing. And so there's a need to roll out the fact that the commission exists. And a lot of the communities we're talking about aren't used to listening to standard forms of communication. So we're trying to get all those in the city to understand that the commission exists, and they may have the ability to see what their rights are, what they're able to gain, and that type of thing. So there is a need to come out with the information that the commission offers.
And I saw some examples of that. Besides online website, what are other, I know, making like public announcements and stuff like that, but a lot of it is technology based. Is there other ways to get the word out without just technology?
Well, I think the biggest way is to actually go into the community in the different subgroups and say hello, person to person. That's why I think the report was written, so it gives the commission a focus, it gives the council the ability to look at what the commission's focusing on, and how they're going to do it. And there's a lot of, if you look at the report, the back end of it is all on getting information back from those that have been contacted by the commission, and surveys and questionnaires as to do they understand, was it helpful. And so the commission just trying to build a good ground of information to build on. So it's really just establishing itself in the community, really.
Okay, is there a plan to measure this at all, to see
Yeah.
the outcome? Okay.
Yep, there is. And there's also, in the report it says all surveys and questionnaires will be developed with the SMART criteria, and the SMART means specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. So it's not just going to be random questions, they're going to be kind of focused on, is it effective? And a report, I believe, will be generated and sent to the council for review. as to what has transpired in the previous year and where we're going forward and what the expectations are in the future.
Okay. And then, again, I don't know who the best question
Before we move on to
is.
another question, Pam?
Yeah, so Attorney Mather had commented to the original question you had
Oh,
about the
okay. Yeah, before you
commission and
move
its
Oh, perfect,
authority.
thanks.
Should we add that?
Good evening, Alders. I just wanted to clarify, I drafted the ordinance originally, so I just wanted to clarify a little bit about why the Equal Rights Commission specifically should have a plan like this that's different than most of our boards and commissions. Most of our boards and commissions are created for specific purposes to carry out statutory duties or other duties specifically created by the council that relate to statutes or to our code. And the ERC does too, but importantly, part of the ERC, it's part of what it can do is hear complaints related to equal rights issues. The other part is, and the focus of the ERC is really to do these outreach things and to provide reports to council on what diversity, equity, and inclusion looks like in the city of Green Bay. And so it is fundamentally different from our other boards and commissions because it was specifically created with the intent in mind that rather than operating with a standard operating procedure like the other committees, it would be more of a nebulous thing where it would create for itself some kind of metric to judge how diversity and equity and inclusion efforts are going in the community and report that back to council, and also not just in the community but also within the city. So it's a very different mandate for this particular commission than for most of our boards and commissions and our standing committees like you all. I don't. You're looking at me like maybe I didn't clarify.
No, sorry, no. I remember reading the intent of having a website. So I guess when you're talking about measurables and reports and stuff, then what is the purpose behind a website? Because that's going to cost money. Who's running that? Just kind of, you're talking about one side, which I completely understand, but it looks like there's way more to it as far as being in the public, going to things. That's not just a survey if someone's going and attending and speaking on behalf of the city.
And that would be a better question for somebody working either
Yeah.
Director Fault or somebody on the commission.
Yeah, there's no cost to the website. The website's going to be using our city website, so it'll be like a web page created. So there's no additional cost to the website.
Who has control or who's running that, I guess?
City staff will run it.
So if they want to submit something, then they post it.
Yeah, and we'll be subject to the social media policy, just like city staff and all our commissioners and elected officials are.
Okay.
Any other questions?
No, I'd just like to piggyback on, when the Sustainability Commission first started, we also did community outreach. We didn't need an ordinance or anything, we didn't feel it was that, we need to, but when we started up, we needed to make sure people knew about us and we wanted to get that connectivity. But it was fairly informal, we didn't need an ordinance to do anything like that. But when we started up, it was the same kind of thing. We needed people to know where we were, who we were.
Is an ordinance required in order for them to be out in the public? Because if you were getting your name out with the Sustainability Commission, what stopped this commission from just attending events and
Yeah.
representing the...
I can answer that. So I think the ordinance provides that commissioners can go in the community and can attend events. And also, like what Attorney Mather was saying, part of the commission's duties is to see how diversity, equality, or equity and inclusion is in the community and report back to the council. So the point of the initiative is to put, I guess, parameters around and kind of put a focus on what they're going to do, to kind of hold themselves accountable and have like a guide for how they're going to go in the community. I mean, they don't necessarily have to do this, but it just kind of puts kind of some more focus on what they're trying to accomplish, and it's just easier to understand. I put some, like I said, parameters and more specifics on what they are trying to accomplish for the commission. That's why they're creating it, but they don't have to create it, but I think it's just helpful for the common council and the community to see what they're trying to accomplish.
I think their mission is different. I mean, their mission really needs, we need to connect with the community to make that bridge for equity. We want to find out where we are not equitable, where we can improve, where we can be more accommodating to diverse groups to make them more welcome to help the city grow. With the Sustainability Commission, it's really more of a technical kind of commission, and we didn't, our mission was a little different. We wanted people to know we were there, but once that was done, it really, we didn't need that continuous outreach. I see this commission as continuously doing outreach.
You should open the floor. Yes, because she's.
Oh, motion open the floor?
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, the floor is now open. Would anybody would like to speak?
Yeah, she has her hand raised.
Okay, sorry.
There you go. She's unmuted.
Hello, hi there, this is Commissioner Chairwoman Yang. I just wanted to echo what was already said. The Visibility Initiative's mission is to foster an environment of positive community engagement. And we really wanted to just do outreach because of the past 2 years with our engagement with some of the community organizations. The feedback that we heard from them was that they didn't know we existed and they didn't understand what our mission was or what the ordinance was. So really what we're trying to do is engage more with the community so that we can educate them about the ordinance and our commission. And this wasn't just an overnight initiative that we put together. This was put together with the 9 commissioners, and it took about 4 months to piece together. So we really made sure that we thought about all the ups and downs before we submitted this to council. One thing that we can't do is we can't investigate and adjudicate complaints, but something that we can do is to promote and educate this ordinance. And so that's what we're trying to do with this initiative. And we could have went the other route. We could have just completed we could have just attended events, and we could have engaged with the public just by ourselves and just on the side. But what we really wanted to do was make this formal and out of courtesy to the council so that they knew exactly the steps that we're going to take and what our plan was for the next year. This is going to be it was supposed to be from September through September 2024. So this is really just the common courtesy for the council so they know what we're working on. And of course, at the end of it, we're going to write a report with all the metrics on it. Because every event that we attend, we're going to gather surveys and data and feedback from the residents of Green Bay. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for Todd? Anybody else would like to speak on this item? If not, a motion.
Motion to close the floor.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Nays? All right, the floor is now closed. Commissioners, what would you like to do?
Anybody has any other questions or concerns to bring up? I make a motion to,
I do
Oh.
have one more question.
Oh,
I guess
go ahead,
we
yeah.
talked about politically being involved, but I guess I'm confused on a couple of things. There's quite a bit in here about voting. And one of them says not eligible to vote, undocumented, formerly incarcerated, or under 18 years old. What is the initiative or goal with that?
What specific thing?
Goal 3, under section 2, page 5.
Page 5?
Yep.
Thank you.
Page 5, goal 3, the third bullet point.
I think what we talked about before is when there's any issues with questions about voting and their voting rights, that they be, referred to the clerk's office to answer that, because the clerk's office is the best suited to answer those questions. That's what I think this is trying to get at. It's just accessibility considerations for individuals in these groups.
Who are not eligible to vote?
Yeah, I mean, and I don't know if that means like the person thinks they're not eligible to vote, or if they actually are not eligible to vote and to understand what the rights are.
Okay, because I think it would just be more clear to just have a bullet point that says, people have questions about voting or where to vote, to refer them to the clerk. It just is very in-depth. I guess I'm not unclear of what that means.
It kind of confused me too. When I was reading that, I was like, they would try to get statutes changed to, say, allow a convicted felon to vote or something. And that's the one thing we
But
don't
the-
want it to be politically.
But the
tied.
commission can't.
But then why is it in there, I guess?
I mean, the commission has no authority. They could maybe recommend to us that we change it. Everything comes through the council. They have no authority whatsoever. They can go out there and talk to people and talk to maybe a bunch of felons, and felons say, man, I really would like to vote. They can bring that information to us. We could then take whatever action we possibly can or what we think wise to do.
But did it need to be put in this, in that terminology?
Well, again, they're just being upfront with all the people that are going to be outreach. There's going to be outreach to everyone, including this segment of the population. But there's absolutely nothing anyone can do, especially at our level or their level, about that. I mean, that's a state.
Right, that's why I'm saying why.
But we could maybe make a resolution that we support changing the state law.
Let's hear from the clerk. Jeffrey?
So, there are people who believe that their rights have been terminated, but their rights may have actually been restored. And there is a way for people to actually have their rights restored if they have been incarcerated. So that is, that's certainly one thing I could see the commission working on with people in our community. I will tell you that in Madison, the clerk actually, some time ago, had gone to a place where people who are suffering from a low amount of income, so they need a supplement with their groceries. And so she went there and talked to some people who attend that particular place, and they thought that they were on paper, and she found that they were actually, their rights are restored. So that's what she did as a clerk in Madison. That is not in my work plan for 2024. And so I can see that the Equal Rights Commission could certainly be engaged in the work. Hey, do you know? Have you looked? Here's how you can look. To get your rights restored. Obviously, people in the state of Wisconsin cannot vote before their 18th birthday. So if your birthday, if election day is November 5th and your birthday is November 6th, you're out of luck. Also, people who have not lived here currently 28 days or more cannot vote. These are all, as Alder Scannell said, these are state issues, not city council issues. City council could craft a resolution to the state to change this, but again, not within your purview.
Any, I guess, clarification on the political environment, understanding of the political system, I understand, but political environment, what would that specifically be about?
I mean, I see Sherry Yang has her hand raised.
Motion open the floor?
Close the floor, hold on.
Yeah, maybe we should.
Yeah, you gotta open it again.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nays? Okay, floor is now open.
Hi there, I didn't hear the last question that you asked, but I wanted to refer back to the question earlier about goal 3, the third point down, not able to vote. The reason why I restated in that way is, as Madam Clerk Celestine said, that many undocumented, many residents who feel that their rights have been negated, but the tax
We're losing you.
Ms. Yang, unfortunately your connection is not very good.
Your voice is breaking up. We can't understand you.
It's already.
Oh, how about, can you guys hear me?
There she is.
Hello?
Yep.
Better.
Uh-oh. It's the Zoom. Maybe that's us.
Are you connected to the wired
Or to
in?
the,
Yeah,
oh,
wired in.
Ethernet, yeah.
It doesn't?
Doesn't connect.
Connect to the Wi-Fi, connect to the Wi-Fi.
You don't have,
Recording in progress.
After 4.
Oh, hell's bells.
We got it, we're back. We're here. Well, I think we're back, but.
she's probably getting in and out.
Yeah.
She probably was her.
It hasn't, I haven't had a problem. I guess we can continue it. We're on and back in Zoom, so she wants to join back.
Oh,
She
there
didn't
she
know
is.
what. Oh, there she is.
Okay.
There you go.
She's back.
She's unmuted.
Okay, Ms. Yang, you're back. Can you hear us?
Lacey's are, the speakers set up, and the mics.
I don't think anything changed. Let me double check. No, we're still as we were before.
No.
There she goes.
Okay, sorry about that. I'm not sure what happened there. The screen just went black on my end here, but, okay, can you all hear me?
Very well now.
Okay, great. So as I was saying, I did hear Alder Grant's, most current question, but earlier I wanted to address what she asked earlier about being not eligible to vote, why we wrote that in there. It's because those who feel that they're not eligible to vote, or those who have been deemed uneligible to vote, even though they're tax-paying residents of Green Bay, they often feel, as Madame Clerk Celestine stated, they often feel that all of their rights have been terminated. And what that means is that they feel that if they're disabled, they can't even request for good transportation. If they have any type of inconvenience based off of their abilities, they feel that as if they don't have the right to ask for support. And so what I wanted to do there, and what the commission really is trying to do, is say, okay, we are here to help you, even though you're not eligible to vote. There are some rights that you have. Does that make sense?
Yes. If it could be worded a little better, I guess, in the document, because that's not the way that, yeah, it's hard to understand that, I guess, from the way it's in the document. But the second question was the second bullet point, right above that one, where it just says, understanding the political system, understanding of the political environment. What would you see that, what's the goal of that?
Sure. So political environment means, it doesn't necessarily mean polarization of political situations, right? Political environment means understanding that your council members are there, they're supposed to be council members because they are bipartisan, right? So not a lot of people understand that. I'm going to be honest here, when someone sees a white person sitting as a council member, their first thought is conservative. But I don't want that for our constituents in Green Bay. I want them to understand that your city council members are there, sitting there as bipartisan people, and they will listen to you and they can hear you out. So does that make a little bit more sense? I mean, we can work on the wording on this with the staff, but I definitely want to make sure that you guys understand what we're trying to, what our mission is with these bullet points.
Yeah, and I understand what political environment is, but yeah, when it's worded like that, it's open for interpretation. So I do think it's great that if you educate, people on what your council member does and how to reach out to them, and that is great. But I think that could be simply stated versus, a broad term, I guess, that could be misinterpreted.
I mean, is the commission looking for it to say something like, understanding that common council members are nonpartisan?
Or even just roles, responsibilities of
Yeah.
aldermen,
You can
contact
include nonpartisan
information.
too, though, but definitely.
Just roles,
the
like, yeah, what we do, what that all entails, reasons for reaching out to your alderman, even just to give advice as to why you would reach out to your alderman, I think is very helpful, because a lot of people, even I talk to in my district, they don't know, they're like, oh, I didn't know I could have contacted you about this. So I think that's actually super useful for everybody in the city.
Yeah.
So I think that's very clear. And just, I guess, with the not eligible to vote, just knowing what resources are available if you do have, you know, anything with disabilities or handicap, anything like that, about how the city can help you. I think that's just a little bit more clear as to what the goals are and the parameters are.
Yeah, I think we should have went to Chair Yang first on that one, because I think the intent of what Chair Yang and the Equal Rights Commission is saying is that goal 3 is educating the public on the rights of the Equal Rights Commission and the ordinances that they're trying to uphold or provide. So these individuals that aren't eligible to vote, they're not giving them advice on how to vote. It's basically just saying there's still the Equal Rights Ordinance to serve you, and you still have rights under our ordinances and state law and things like that.
Any other comments?
To Alder Weary's point, is there something that can be added, just, you know, no commissioner shall make any political statements or viewpoints? I don't know. I know that was a concern of his, if we're talking about amendments, I guess.
Give me a suggestion.
It's kind of redundant, but I mean, if that makes alders feel better, I mean, but we already have ordinances that give the roles of commissioners and alders and.
So how many
But
citizens know those?
we're talking about another ordinance.
I don't think it's wrong to include it. If someone's purely looking at this on how this commission can help, doesn't hurt to know the parameters as well, instead of going to 2 different
Yeah,
documents.
but, well, like I said, if you really,
I
I'm
just
not
wanted to address
opposed
this
to
concern
it, but
if
it
we're
is
talking about
redundant.
amendments.
Right. But like I'm saying, the average citizen doesn't know it. We didn't know it until we got elected and we got put on committees. I think it just makes it a little clearer for the average citizen to read stuff like that. Just like this, there's almost too many things in here. If it was something simplified that would say to educate and inform people of their rights, instead of having all these different
Well,
little...
but an ordinance, you want an ordinance to be specific. I mean, because it's not so much they're informing people on our ordinance. This is what they're going to be doing. They're letting us know what they're going to be doing. So, I mean, it's not like we're educating people on an ordinance. We're educating people, and the ordinance is describing that process.
But this isn't an ordinance. This is what they're going to be doing to help these people.
We're talking about creating an ordinance, correct? Or a strategic action plan.
Yeah, it's not an ordinance. That would just be my recommendation based off Alder Weary's concern, since he's not here. I could see that being helpful with, again, some of the broad things that were mentioned in bullet points. So that would be my recommendation.
Is the floor still open?
Yeah, floor still open.
And she,
Oh, sorry.
Hi, yeah, sorry, I saw that I noticed the floor is still open, so I just wanted to chime in real quick on what Alder Grant was stating in reference to making sure that we have a disclaimer in there about that. I would ask that staff look at that, and what we did with the ordinance, the Silver Equal Rights Ordinance, is that we linked the full ordinance into this initiative. So I would ask that we also link where that is wherever that ordinance is, the city ordinances, we'll link that into this document, but I do ask that we don't write that in here, just so that we don't take away from what the goal and what we're trying to accomplish with this initiative. But I mean, for me, I don't mind linking where that exact ordinance is that talks about making sure that we're not speaking on behalf of all of the city or however that's stated.
Ms. Yaden, while the floor's open, can I ask you, do you know how much time you guys plan to designate to this? I know we do a lot, or you guys do a lot with, affordable housing, things like that. Have you talked about or discussed, 10% of your time will be trying to engage in the community, or how that looks overall?
Sure, that's a great question. And I do want to say that all of these commissions are on a volunteer basis, and no one has complained that they've been stretched too thin, or no one has complained that there isn't enough to do. And so I really want to thank and uplift the commissioners on this commission. And so to answer your question, what we want to do is work on this simultaneously while we're working on other initiatives as well. So this is not going to be our sole focus. And we do have a point person because housing was our initial initiative, our first initiative. We have a point person from the ERC that continues to work with the staff on those situations and on those recommendations. So we are definitely not losing sight on other initiatives. We will be, like I said, working simultaneously, so we'll be attending events while we're hosting these monthly meetings for the ERC, and if other issues are brought along the way or brought up along the way, we'll look at those too. But we definitely do not plan to prioritize this over everything else. We're going to work on it alongside all of the other projects and initiatives that come up along the way.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions for Ms. Yaden? Okay.
Any other comments?
Well, we should close the floor.
Yeah.
Motion to close the floor.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Floor is now closed.
Then, I'm thinking we should refer this back to staff to touch this up and come back to us. Is that,
That sounds, I kind of agree with.
do you have enough?
I do, and I don't know, I know you guys just closed the floor. I don't know if Alder Hutchinson wants to speak to this. I think there was a comment about like timelines with this, and I do think the Equal Rights Commission was hoping to have this in place, I think like Chair Yang said, in September, and I think this is the first time it came to the Common Council, so obviously there's some delay on our end, but I do think the hope is to get this done as soon as possible, so I think to try and get this approved by our December meeting or inter-December meeting is something I think the Commission's really looking to do. And I don't know if Chair Yang has
So
any.
would you be able to make these changes by Tuesday of next week, and just bring it to common council?
Yeah, we could do that.
Okay.
I think it'd be a priority to do it right,
Yeah, absolutely.
not worry about timeline.
Yeah, we'll do it. We'll make the changes, and I think we'll send it to Common Council, and if we feel like it's not correct at that time, then send it back to staff, and we can do that.
Let's do that.
Make a motion to send it back to
No,
staff.
No. We can do it at council. They want to fix it up, bring it to council, we'll look at it at council, we're not happy with the changes, we think that they need more time, whatever, we can refer it at that time. So let's give them a chance to see if they can meet their timeline. Let's see if staff can put this together, and see what happens Tuesday.
Yeah, so Alders, if you're going to change it, I mean, you could refer it back for edits, but it's gonna have to come as a committee of the whole item to council, because here, you're either recommending adoption, referring it back for changes. Right, so I think it could come to council with these changes, but we would do it as a committee of the whole. I think so. Chief Hall, probably, that would be.
I mean, I think in the past, we have referred it, like, to staff to make changes for the Common Council meetings, but I don't know if that's.
If you want to refer it back with the amendments, but we won't have had the opportunity.
I'm just going to say they would remind us to discuss.
Right, so you could approve it as amended.
Right.
And then if you don't like that, council.
We don't know how they're gonna write it up.
And discuss
We'll
the
see how they write
amendments.
it up. And maybe it needs a few tweaks at council, we can do that right there, or maybe it's gonna need more than that, we can refer back.
Adopt as amended.
So I make a motion to,
We're not amending.
Approve as
we're
amended.
amending the plan. So where we would be, Alder Scanlon, I think, is trying to make a motion to adopt as,
amend it.
with recommended
With
changes or as
recommended
amended.
changes.
With recommended changes.
Sure, recommended changes,
Okay. I make a motion to approve
sure.
with recommended changes, see what that looks like Tuesday. And we can decide where to go from there.
Who was the second?
There hasn't been a second yet.
Second.
I just made the motion.
Okay, so if we do that and we don't like the amendment, then we can,
When you pull it, you can, yeah.
okay, all right, second?
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Nays? Ayes have it. Thank you. What number are we on now? Number 2. Thank you. Consideration of possible action on Class B liquor and Class B beer license for Taste of the South on Wheels LLC at 114 South Broadway with the license premise description as behind bar and kitchen and basement, subject to the approval of the proper authorities. Staff? Clerk?
Thank you. So, 114 Taste of South on Wheels, they do have all the documents in for the liquor license. There are just some approval steps, some inspection approvals that have not yet been done. So just wanted to let you know that that's where it is in terms of the stage of the application. So you could, I mean, police have to still speak about it, but from the clerk's office perspective, they have a complete application, but we're waiting for some additional approvals.
So if we approved the liquor license tonight, but they end up getting all screwed up with that other stuff, how does that?
So we wouldn't issue the license until all the other departments have made their approvals.
Okay.
But, I mean, police may have.
Right, right.
something to say.
Yep, yep.
Please?
We don't have any issues with that. Right, so same thing, we'd be granting a license here. So the issue from the last meeting is that the seller's permit items hadn't been worked out, and the clerk has confirmed that they're in. Still a lot of outstanding approvals, but we can approve liquor licenses subject, that's why the language of the item is subject to other approvals. If those approvals don't come through, we would end up having to do a revocation as opposed to a denial, because once it's been granted, we have to revoke as opposed to not issued. We can't issue until everything is final, but you all can recommend granting the license at this point. And I think the applicant is here, if you'd like to open the floor, up to you.
Well, would you like to speak?
Yes, I'd like to speak.
Okay, motion open the floor.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Hi, so I do Taste of the South on Wheels. I did speak with the health department today. And it was just,
Your address, please.
I'm sorry, 1311 Liberty Street, Green Bay.
Thank you.
And I spoke with the health department today, and it's just going back and forth about the equipment that we can and cannot have in the space is the issue. And so I think I figured that out today, and that she told me that she'll get back to me this week as far as coming out, because from my understanding, I didn't know that they do all of this before they come out and do a pre-inspection. So you have to send them all the documents, and then they come out and do a pre-inspection. And so she'll come out and do a pre-inspection after she approved the equipment that we'll have in the space. And then, so I expect that to happen this week. And then I do believe that I have a license by the end of this week, but that's as far as I know.
Thank you.
Sure has been a race.
Definitely. I'm not giving up though. It's just a matter of taking care of things as I learn them one step at a time. Unfortunately, I learned about life.
Is your kitchen ready to go so that you'll pass that
Yes, and that's the thing, like
51%
they put
moratorium?
the kitchen equipment, because the kitchen does not have a hood ventilation system. So we have to buy equipment that'll suffice, that we can also make the money that we need to make, like the sales, in order to be in the space as well. So the health department helped us with letting us know like what equipment we would need in order to make the food that we need in order to be in the space.
So you're getting excited to see the light at the end of the tunnel?
Yeah.
You've been here for the
I
last few
know,
months.
I've been
so-
here like, since like August.
Yeah.
We're gonna make you an honorary committee member.
Okay, I'm ready to be on the board, and I've been hearing some things going on. I got some views myself, but yeah. But no, I'm ready to open this space and contribute to the community for sure.
All right, well, thank you. Any other questions for her? No. If not,
Motion to close the floor.
do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nays? Ayes have it.
Motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nays? Ayes have it.
Okay, now we're on number
Seven, I believe, is that correct?
7.
7?
Seven is a quasi judicial matter.
Okay.
Our attorney would facilitate.
Yep.
Future Stevens.
Okay.
So we're on item number 7 now for regular business. This is consideration with possible action on an appeal from Chris DuPay. Apologize if I'm mispronouncing the last name. At 323 Ballon Avenue regarding a dangerous dog declaration for Prince and Oakley. This matter is before the Protection and Policy Committee at this time because it is the first available meeting after the filing of Chris DuPay's appeal to have the dangerous dog declaration waived. So this will be a quasi judicial matter. I'm going to do a conflict check here for the committee because it is the goal of the Protection and Policy Committee to provide and conduct a hearing that is fair in form, appearance, and substance. To ensure that this hearing satisfies these goals, I'm asking that each member of the committee please confirm the following for this appeal by stating I confirm. Number 1, I do not have a conflict of interest in this matter.
I confirm.
I confirm.
I confirm.
Thank you. Number 2, I have not received any communication from any person or party about this matter.
I confirm.
I confirm.
Okay, thank you. A decision will be made based upon the testimony tonight and also the Green Bay Municipal Code. And at this time, Chris DuPay's appeal documents have been submitted into the record. The committee will hear from both parties before issuing its decision in this matter, and both sides will each have 5 minutes to present their arguments, beginning with the appellant, followed by staff. I will swear in each speaker before beginning. Throughout this process, the members of the committee may ask questions of any speaker, and speakers are reminded to answer the questions and to not engage in a debate with the committee members. Following the arguments, the committee will deliberate and make a motion as appropriate. Before I get any further, are both parties here?
Yes, I'm Chris.
Okay, thank you. Do the parties have any additional witnesses that they want to present to the committee?
Yes, that's my middle lady.
Okay. We're going to begin with these witnesses first. So if your first witness would please step forward. At this time, we're just going to give them 3 minutes to give their testimony. Could your first witness come forward, please?
Her name's Shannon.
Hey.
Hi there. Before we begin, I'm going to swear you in. You can take a seat if you'd like. Can you please state your name and your address for the record, please?
Yep, Shannon Sonoris, 2679 Courtney Street, Green Bay, Wisconsin, 54311.
Thank you. And do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth?
Yes.
Okay. You may give your testimony, please.
Okay, so I've known Chris for a while. I'm his mail lady, and I'm terrified of most dogs, like any mail carrier is. And I met both of them, and they're super friendly dogs, very well behaved. I've never seen any sign of dangerousness or anything from them.
I'm going to let the committee ask any questions if they have any.
Are you familiar with the complaints made?
Yeah.
Any comments on those?
I've never seen any sign of them being dangerous. Every time you see them, they seem really well behaved, and they're very friendly.
Do they,
They don't seem aggressive at all.
okay, do they run around the neighborhood much? Are they loose much?
I think they've gotten loose like maybe once before.
Okay.
So how do you actually see them then?
Usually when I'm delivering mail, and we're also friends, so I've seen his dogs outside of work too, and played with them, and they seem really friendly. I don't see them as being dangerous at all.
So do they run around the front yard? They come up to the mailbox when you pull up?
Usually he has them on a leash when he's walking them, and that's kind of how I've met them.
So most of your contact
Yeah.
is while they are released?
Yeah.
How long have you been around these dogs?
It's about a half a year.
Okay.
I'm done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you very much. If you would like to come on up and give your testimony, I'm going to swear you in first, and then we'll get started.
Okay.
Can you state your name and address for the record, please?
Christopher Doobie, address is 323 Blonde Avenue, Greenville, Wisconsin. 942.
And then, do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth?
Yes.
You can go ahead, your 5 minutes will begin.
Okay. So I got Prince back in November of 21, and he was only 8 months old. He's a rescue dog. And he's been, I don't know, he's still a puppy. He's not very old. Oakley, I obtained Oakley in May. She is approximately right now, she's a year and a half. Neither dog is a pit bull. I know it's stated in the report that they're pit bulls. Neither one is a pit bull. Prince is, in fact, I sent out a DNA test. He is, in fact, a Australian cattle dog, mostly, boxer, and some Staffordshire Terrier. Oakley is a purebred American Bulldog, so she does resemble a pit bull because of other statues that actually pit bull is actually derived from. She's big. She's 82 pounds and she's a year and a half old, so she looks very intimidating. Prince has never, to my knowledge, has never bit anybody or anything. There was an incident with him last year where my neighbor and I both share a parcel of the front yard, and I didn't know he was in the front yard with me, and I didn't realize that he had pooped on her side and defecated over there, so I didn't see it. It had rained, and as she was taking her garbage out, she had stepped in it, so she left it over my door. And I didn't see the note because with the rain that was going on for the past few days, I was going through my garage. So she contacted the authorities, and that led to Prince getting in trouble with the authorities. But as far as my knowledge, they've never bitten, they've never attacked anybody. They're not human aggressive whatsoever. They have gotten outside of my backyard before because it's not completely fenced in, so it's fenced in on two sides. And I live in an area where there are 3 vacant lots behind me that are all woods. And with those woods by Preble High School, they go quite a ways. And if anybody's familiar with the area, they understand that there are a lot of deer around there. When a dog that's 75 to 80 pounds sees a deer, the first instinct is to, oh, I'm gonna go play with it and chase it. Prince has in fact done that and gotten kicked by the deer and come running back like, oh my God, that hurt. But Oakley is more of a protector, where I brought them home and they them as their best friends. They're super friendly to each other. She overlooks him. They've gotten out a couple times. I know I went and talked to the person that actually called in the complaint and talked to him, make sure, is there any vet bills, or is there any kind of bills, anything that they can take care of, anything? Nope, there's nothing. The dog, the last time when they called, from what I was understanding from what he told me, was the dog came at him. He got scared, picked up a chair and hit the dog. Hit the dog 3 times, the dog finally backed up, and that's when Oakley came up to Prince and barked at Prince, and then they ran away together. And then that's when I got the ticket saying that they were dangerous dogs. Oakley's never been in trouble, ever. They're, like I said, she's a big puppy. They're both super friendly, they're loving dogs. I mean, yes, they've gotten out of the yard once or twice, but it's not like they do it all the time. They both have electronic collars on them, so if they do get out of the yard, you push the button, it beeps or it vibrates, or they get the electric shock. Sometimes if they're chasing a deer, dogs, they don't care. They're like, oh, I'm gonna go find out what this is. Prince, on the other hand, if you shock Prince, he immediately yelps and everything. So they always have a collar on. If they go outside of my sight, they have a leash on. They're always within my sight. Even when they're in the front yard, when Prince had defecated in the neighbor's yard, he was 100% within my sight, and there was a leash there. So I'm responsible as far as that goes. The dog tag, The city tag had expired, and I was waiting for it to expire so I could get them both re-registered. And then in the meantime, they were reconciling their records, so right now you still can't do it as far as I know. But otherwise, they have the rabies vaccines. When I first got Oakley, they made a bed appointment for her. And got her up to date on every single thing possible. Go and get the records from the previous owners, so I had to pay for everything basically from her being a puppy on up, and she'd already been almost a year old. So it was expensive. And then Prince has also got his, they're both chipped. And Prince has also been the same vet as well.
You've had the dogs how long?
I've had Prince since November of '21, and Oakley, I received her in May of this past year.
And it was Prince from 21, right?
Prince.
Prince, yeah, okay, and in that time, they've gotten away a few times?
Prince has gotten away a couple times, yeah.
Couple times, okay.
He's seen deer or something, or a squirrel. He likes squirrels.
Watch out for skunk.
What's that?
Watch out for skunk.
Yeah, they've tangled with one of them in the backyard this summer.
And then the gentleman that was scared, did you get a chance to speak to him? You spoke to the neighbor.
Yes, that was him. Yep.
Oh, it was him?
Yep, I talked to him and I talked to his wife. They both have 2 dogs.
Okay. And how did he, there's no vet bills or anything, no one was hurt or anything. Did he still, what did he say to you about Prince after that experience? Did
He
say
said that Prince had come running up to him, which I could see him doing that because he's super friendly. He wants to go up and say hi to everybody. So he ran up, and as he ran up, he had looked up and the dog was there, and it scared him. So he grabbed the first thing by him was a chair, and he said, "This woman hit the dog with the chair." And the dog's kind of sitting there like, "Whoa, what are you doing?" And,
does he still feel afraid of the dog now, do you think?
I don't think so. I went and talked to him and his wife, and I spent about half an hour talking to them both. Asked them, please, is there anything I can do to help the situation right now? They were surprised even with the City of Green Bay held a dog license. They had no idea either. They had 2 dogs. Their dogs had electronic fence. And I told him, I said, well, if you notice, my dogs both have the big collar. And he's like, yeah, it's this electronic collar. I said, it's remote operated. He has noted where his dog has got outside his electric fence before the pain in the butt for him to get his dog back in once he got out. So, and he's got a boxer and English setter. He did say that the dog was like, wasn't barking, wasn't snarling, wasn't growling or anything, it was there.
Okay, thanks. I got another question.
Okay. Thank you for your time. We're gonna have city staff. We have a witness, right? Just one? Would you
I'm
like
having difficulty
Oh.
hearing.
We can turn that
Sure,
off.
we can-
It's an air ionizer or something. We can just unplug it if you'd like, I can do that.
Just kick it.
Just kidding.
Would you like to
Tax
come up?
dollars at work.
Can you state your name and address for the record, please?
Paula Van Ert, 2335 Wesley. Excuse me, Wellwood Drive.
Okay.
Wesley.
Thank you. And do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is or will be the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. Sorry, you can go ahead.
Okay. I first became aware of the dog situation through a Facebook post where the people said their dogs had been attacked twice by these dogs and that, and mentioned that the husband, was involved, didn't say he got hurt or got bit or anything. And I have seen these dogs quite a few times this summer and a couple times this fall running loose. It's not been 1 or 2 times. I can hear the guy yelling and yelling and yelling and yelling, calling his dogs, and they do not pay any attention to him or come to him. I've seen him running up through those woods which border my yard. And I've seen him running on my property across the hill in back of my house. And I have a dog that has a doggy door, and I'm afraid if she's out on her own and these dogs just come running into the yard that she could be injured. as well as myself, because I've had a number of issues in Green Bay with dogs that are not on a leash, and I ended up in the emergency room with stitches and a $16,000 ER bill. So, I don't know who's telling the truth here, but I don't like loose dogs, large dogs running around. They scare me, they make me nervous, they make me nervous for my dog. And I think if people have dogs, they need to be responsible dog owners and keep them fenced or something, not just, well, I'll go catch them when they get loose. I'm kind of afraid sometimes to let my dog out, or for me to be outside, and that's my concern, especially large, powerful dogs like that. Any dog can, a lot of times people say, well, my dog would never bite anybody. Well, I've been bitten twice by dogs that would never bite anybody. So I think if someone wants to own a dog, they have to be very responsible, have them trained, have them confined, have them on a leash if they're out of the house, one or the other. If there's no fence containing them, they can obviously go wherever they want to go. And I just think it's ridiculous.
Questions? from
Yeah.
council? Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Yep.
Would staff like to come up, please? Or officer?
Hi there, I'm Officer Mavis. I'm a humane officer and law enforcement officer with the Green Bay Police Department. Just here to speak up.
And then do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth?
Yes, I
Okay.
do.
And since the appellant went a little bit longer than 5 minutes, we will allow for a little bit longer than 5 minutes here, about 6 minutes or so.
That sounds
5
great.
3/4.
So I just kind of wanted to give a brief background here why I'm involved. I'm the department's humane officer. I was not responsible for responding to the complaint on October 22nd. Officer Bauman was. He's a patrol officer within the department. At that time, the victims, husband and wife, Gretchen and Brian Filatos, if I'm saying that right, reported to police that their 2 dogs, a Cocker Spaniel Riley and a boxer named Milo, were attacked on their own property within their backyard when they were outside doing some yard work. It was a really nice, like 80-degree day that day, if you recall. And so they had actually posted on the Preble Park Facebook neighborhood page, does anyone know who these dogs are? And they notified law enforcement as well. The patrol officer came and took the report. He then notified me because he had seen that these people had also reported, the victims had also reported a complaint with the same dogs August 11th. And he said, hey, we have a history of complaints. We have not identified the dogs yet, and supplied me the photographs. He generated the report. I guess there was some concern with some of the neighbors being familiar with the dogs and having concerns over retaliation. They came forward and notified Officer Bauman who the at-fault dogs were and where they reside. I then followed up and said, hey, we have a history of complaints there. He was familiar with that, looking at the prior calls for service there as well. I had actually been to Mr. Dupuis' house over at 323 Blonde Avenue June 22nd of 2022 after a complaint was reported to me on June 19th of 2022 for 2 dogs that were not under control defecating on a neighboring property without removal. That neighbor did supply video footage of every incident. So I did have that. At that time, the dogs were not licensed in compliance with city ordinance as well as state law. I gave him a month to comply. So that put it at July 22nd of 2022. He was not compliant in doing so. July 26th, I followed up there and advised that there were still issues of the dogs running loose, again on July 10th, July 15th, and that he failed to obtain licenses on the 22nd, so he was cited. I then reminded him again that dog licenses were required and gave him until August 5th of 2022. At that time, he did license the 1 dog, Prince, who he indicated was a Foxhound Terrier mixed dog. According to city records, that license is only good for a calendar year. So January 1st to the end of the calendar year. So every January 1st of any calendar year, a dog license must be held. When I looked up at our files following this complaint, it showed that Prince's rabies vaccine expired October 4th of 2022. So based on those records, I had no current information that this dog even had a current rabies immunization, was running at large, and then caused these issues. So I ended up following up. I saw that there were no licenses held for any of the dogs in 2023, which were actually due January 1st. And like I said, then there was the expired rabies immunization. I explained to him that we had a history of complaints, a history of uncontrolled dogs defecating on neighboring properties, and that sort of stuff. And it is a safety concern, a health and safety concern. So I did deem both dogs dangerous based on that. Both dogs attacking neighboring dogs not once but twice on someone else's property, which they should have the right to move about freely on their own property without intervention, concern of attack or injury or anything else like that. So the Dangerous Dog Ordinance 6-3 indicates when an unprovoked animal and while off its owner's property approaches a domestic animal in a menacing fashion. That's section 2. Section 3, when unprovoked and while off its owner's property causes a non-severe, non-bite injury in a menacing fashion to any person or domestic animal. I think it's important to know that our dangerous dog ordinance does not require a bite of a human or another animal. The dog just has to act in a menacing fashion in order for it to be deemed aggressive. The fact that we have a history of complaints to this property of uncontrolled dogs, dogs acting in a menacing fashion, going over to another property, and this incident actually occurred on Newberry Avenue near Preble High School. If you're familiar with like the tennis courts and stuff like that, it's about right across the street. And then if you go further down, it's on Blonde Avenue where these dogs come from. So, you know, what I would advise people is an animal is your responsibility. It is not a neighborhood, it's not a community pet, it is your responsibility. An animal owner and person in possession of an animal is liable for any injury or damage that their dog causes on or off property. So just like you get a car, got to license and insure and register that thing. You have an animal, the same rules apply. You have to license it, you have to insure it with your homeowner's insurance. Most animals that have been involved in any kind of injury or attack to another human or another animal, most insurance companies will require additional insurance coverage.
Do you have how many times officers have gone to the house, how many times? A count?
Just want to look here. I know I had been there responding to 2 specific complaints. Yeah, I've got my 2 complaints on here. As far as other police calls, I can't state for sure, but as far as like animal-related complaints, and I do respond to both types of calls for service, but the complaints that I have were July 26th of 2022, June 22nd, 2022, that's when I was physically there, and then when I did my follow-up, I believe on October 26th of 2023, gave the dangerous dog declaration order. I wasn't able to make contact with him in person. I did verify that the dogs were the same dogs because they were confined in the home, but you could see in the window, the dogs came up at the window.
The dogs are not licensed yet, or is there some rule or something they can't be because they've been deemed to be removed?
State law requires a rabies immunization and a license. That's in compliance with state statute 174.07. Municipal ordinance requires cats and dogs be licensed with proof of a rabies immunization. So right now we're transitioning into the new calendar year. The new 2024 licenses are available in city clerk's office as of November 20th. So prior to that, they can be purchased at City Hall, they can be purchased at area vet clinics and the Wisconsin Humane Society, which is our contracted animal sheltering facility.
Are they currently licensed?
They are clear to get a license, however, right now these dogs are deemed dangerous. So technically, by the ordinance, they are not even to be permitted in the city. You had 5 days to remove of them.
Well, they're not deemed, I mean, that's what we're doing here now.
So what it is they're declared dangerous, I should say.
Declared dangerous. Yeah. And, was there anything else, Alderman Morgan? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
Thank you.
Okay. So the couple, the neighbors, you said their name was?
Brian and Gretchen Flados. It's like FLJEDOS.
The neighbors?
Yes.
They made 2 complaints?
They made 2 complaints, August 11th of 2023, and then October 22nd of 2023.
And the one complaint was the dogs were attacking their dogs and the neighbor hit the dog with a...
One of the victims, so they were doing yard work in the backyard, and their 2 dogs, Milo and Riley, were in the backyard. One lady Gretchen was doing yard work, her husband was there. She saw her dogs get attacked by these dogs. They said that they were primarily going after their boxer, Milo. That dog sustained like a cut to the head and an injury to the paw, which Officer Bauman did indicate and observe the injuries. And the woman was yelling for help. Her husband came and actually threw like a patio chair at the dog, both dogs, to get them away.
Okay, and then, so that's one incident. What was the other incident?
The other incident was in August,
And-
when the dogs, the same thing happened. The people were in their backyard with their dogs, and these same dogs went over and ended up biting their dogs and causing an attack, and she reported that to law enforcement. At that time, law enforcement went there, took the complaint. The dogs were gone upon arrival and not able to be identified at that time.
Okay.
This time, the complainant did obtain photographs of both dogs.
Okay. So to your knowledge, they're not going back on their reports. They're standing by what they've...
Yes, in fact, they had made a comment that, it was frustrating that they had to be involved in this, not once, but twice, and wanted something done.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you for your testimony.
Yes, no problem. And can I just make one other comment? The victims' dogs are licensed. I know that was brought up earlier. So,
Would the committee like to deliberate at this time?
Isn't there a rebuttal?
If you like, there typically is not in this quasi judicial. Usually each side gets their opportunity to present their case, and then they present their witnesses, and then we, as the committee, would consider.
Oh,
If you'd like
I
to give
thought,
them time, you can give them time equally. It's up to you. If you want to give them rebuttal time.
I would.
Okay, and
I'd like to hear-
I'll just say then for the record, then we're gonna, each side has an opportunity for
Right,
a rebuttal.
correct, yep.
We'll start with the appellant. If you'd like to come back, you don't have to. This is your opportunity if you would like to say anything further.
Yes.
We'll keep it a little bit shorter this time to 3 minutes.
Yeah, I'll keep it fast. So Princeton and Oakley both have, I make them wear harnesses, to the emotional support, all that stuff. They are getting registered as emotional support dogs. But they both have tags on them, and they're Velcro tags that says their names on it. So it clearly states what their names are. Okay? I've never had any other contact with the police besides the time where she came up and contacted me about the dog defecating, and then this just past time. I've never ever heard of my dogs attacking another dog. I physically asked the people, is there any vet bill, is there anything? They told me straight out, no. So I don't know where this is coming from. If there was, I would gladly take care of it, gladly do what I could. Doing right as far as being responsible in the dogs they don't. They have electronic shock collars on both of them, off a remote control. And so it's no different than an electric fence. So whether it's a fenced yard that's 6 feet tall or electric fence, if a dog has some sort of means of keeping him in the yard, then it's no different. My dogs both have that on them at all times. They really do. You can go check them right now. And as far as like them coming out, jumping up at a window if someone comes to the front door, yeah, they do. They're dogs. That's their job. If a stranger comes to their house, that's what they do.
So did the neighbors, did they write you a letter or anything to give to?
No, they did not. I did not find out who the neighbor was until I got the police report, at which time I went over to their house and knocked on their door.
Okay.
Introduced myself.
You have nothing from them to say they exonerated you or whatever?
No.
Okay. And it could be that, there was no bill, that the dog was injured, but not to the point where it needed vet care. Then if the dogs have these collars, it's not an electric fence though, right? I mean, it sounds like they're getting out.
So,
You have no,
You have to activate these
yes, it's something.
physically yourself.
Correct.
So if you're not, if you were occupied doing something else, the dogs can go until you notice.
They can't, correct. I never let the dogs outside the back door and into my backyard without being present. If they see a deer and they bolt, it's like, it's just instantaneous. Prince, very fast.
Are you finished? I'm sorry.
no,
I don't
well, I'm
need
just
you.
trying to understand how, cause if they're, let's say they've run off and you've shot them,
They come back.
But you have to physically,
but you have to physically do it, but
Yep.
is it a guarantee that they'd come back?
Well, it's a 3,500-foot range. That's how far away they can get. So if they get outside the range, then you gotta walk towards them to get it, and then,
Right, but I mean, I just understand why not an electric fence and then they can't go beyond that point. I mean, they can go beyond, they can get out of your yard.
I actually have a fence that's sitting in my backyard that I was in the process of putting up to fence in the entire backyard, but I just haven't had a chance to get it completely up yet.
do you have one?
No, just, if this isn't working, is there any intentions of a real fence, and you just answered that?
No, I don't want to read into what you said, but you did make a statement that there's like 3 empty lots behind you that are all wooded and all that.
Yes.
Do you feel they should be able to run in that? That if they
No.
run out there, do you automatically zap them?
So if they go outside my yard, they get zapped immediately. Immediately. As soon as I see them going toward the tree line, I hit it before they even get close.
Are there times that they do see an animal and you're pressing the button and they're not coming back right away?
I have had one occasion with Oakley where she has done that, where it was a deer, but Prince hit it, he comes back immediately. Oakley, if Prince comes back, Oakley comes back. So if one stays in the yard, the other one does. They don't go anywhere without the yard. They made a bond once I got them, and I've never seen it before with dogs, because 2 totally different breeds and different ages. Made a bond, and one won't let go where the other one is now. So if one is running, the other one follows. If one stays, they both stay. They're always within my sight, and it's just a split second. If they see something, they'll walk.
Good.
Thank you. If at this time, Officer Mavis has any further rebuttal comments, this would be your opportunity.
I do not, thank you.
I just got a question though. if
I
may.
believe our
Officer?
witness would like to.
No, go ahead.
No,
Did you have a
go
question?
ahead.
Oh.
I was just asking if we could have the witness, she'd like to speak, so the floor is yours.
It's up to you guys, but.
I don't know if that's part of the rebuttal, generally not. but-
Typically, we're typically no.
Right, yeah.
So this is.
But anyway, my question is, Prince seems to have been, you think both dogs are dangerous? You declare both dogs dangerous? but-
Both dogs meet the criteria of our dangerous dog ordinance, yes. They're running off property, acting in a menacing fashion to another animal, and not once but twice.
So Prince doesn't seem, because looking at it, it seems like Prince is more aggressive, but you think that's,
Both dogs meet the criteria of our
Criteria.
dangerous dog ordinance, and that's what I have to abide by.
okay, thank you.
Thank you. Well, we've heard all the testimony. Would the commission like to deliberate?
I'm ready to deliberate.
So you can either deliberate in open session, or we have closed session language if you prefer. Your choice.
I don't much care either way.
No, I don't care either way.
Then we could proceed in open if you don't have a preference.
Comments?
I guess I'd like to say, well, getting bit once would be enough for me. You get 2 chances here. Officer Mavis has proved, all the evidence to prove the statute is correct. I agree, our witness, there's too many dogs and pets that are blamed for things that it was just poor ownership. And it's my belief that something should have been done sooner, both to keep these dogs from being able to take off like that and the licensing. So my vote would be to keep it as it is, that these dogs should be removed.
Any other comment?
Yeah, for me, I mean, I've done a number of these, and these two dogs are not anywhere near as dangerous as dogs we have had to deal with. But that doesn't mean, I mean, I'm not gonna split hairs over dangerous, the language used. I mean, there's certainly a nuisance and a threat to the neighborhood. I just don't understand why, I mean, to take measures to control them, but obviously they've been out a couple of times. I just don't understand why not go to an electric fence where they can't leave the yard. Whereas, you know, why invest? I mean, the owner seems to care and be responsible at a certain level, but it seems to be ineffective. And why not take it to that? I just find it confusing. But it's always a tough decision. You know, people love their pets, and these seem like, I mean, these dogs have not attacked anyone physically. Well, it sounds like now that there was the one dog, I didn't realize, I must have missed that when I went through this before. There was one dog that did have a few injuries, minor, but injuries. So, but yeah, Officer Mevis, I know her attitude, I've known, worked with her many times on this, and she does not take these things lightly. If there's any way to not take an animal from an owner, she will do everything she can to go that route. So I support the declaration.
Any other comments?
I mean, yeah, I've owned dogs in the past. Not every dog reacts well to electric. There's training that goes behind it, whether it's even a yard. There's markings, there's training that goes into it. But if that's not effective, it is your responsibility to take bigger action then. And if this is something that neighbors are complaining about on, you know, social media even, that there's multiple. Sometimes you don't know that there's multiple until you post, and if other neighbors have seen the dogs run, it's become a problem then, and everybody has a right to enjoy their property.
Right. Everything that's documented and everything that we've heard as far as the neighbors is they're afraid of the dog, or the dogs are a nuisance, or the dogs are out. So, I mean, unless there's no counter documentation to that, we're gonna have to go on the documentation we have.
So the motion would be?
Motion would be to declare the dogs dangerous.
It would be, I'm sorry, a motion to deny the appeal would sustain the dangerous dog determination, or to grant the appeal would reverse it. So it's either to deny the appeal or.
Motion to deny the appeal. That'd be
Second.
simple.
All right, I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Nay? Ayes have it. Now, this was a county
This is a
council.
recommended, yeah. You want to mention it's a recommendation?
So, a little side work I forgot to mention earlier. Any discussions and recommendations will go to common council for final approval next week, Tuesday, at 6 PM. Your turn.
Then moving on to item number 8 of regular business here. This is consideration with possible action on an appeal by Feliciano J. Delgado regarding reinspection invoices accrued at 913 North Van Buren Street. This matter is before the Protection Policy Committee at this time because it is the first available meeting after the filing of Feliciano J. Delgado's appeal to have his reinspection fees against this property waived or reduced, and this will be done in a quasi-judicial manner. I'm going to ask the committee a conflict check here, because it is the goal of the Protection and Policy Committee to provide and conduct a hearing that is fair in form, appearance, and substance. To ensure that the hearing satisfies these goals, each member of the committee please confirm the following for this appeal by stating, I confirm. Number 1, I do not have a conflict of interest in this matter.
I confirm.
Confirm.
Thank you. Number 2, I have not received any communication from any person or party about this matter.
I confirm.
I concur.
So a decision will be made based upon the testimony tonight and based on the Green Bay Municipal Code. At this time, Feliciano J. Delgado's appeal documents have been submitted into the record. The committee will hear from both parties before issuing its decision in this manner, and both sides will have 5 minutes to present their arguments, beginning with the appellant, followed by staff. Each speaker will be sworn in before speaking. Now, throughout this process, the members of the committee may ask any question of the speaker, and the speakers are reminded to answer the questions and to avoid engaging in debate with the committee members. Following the arguments, the committee will deliberate and make a motion as appropriate. Before going into any arguments, does either party have any witnesses to present to this committee? I should ask first, are both the parties here? Is Feliciano J. Delgado here?
It doesn't appear so.
Okay,
So I don't believe.
we don't need to
Proceed.
continue.
If I could mention, well, the person isn't here, but I was going to start this by saying that these invoices are, the appeal of these invoices are actually late. The 30-day deadline has passed as the last invoice was issued in August of this year. So you could make determinations solely based on that or proceed with the quasi-judicial, however, the person is not here.
And just for the record, I don't believe that the individual is online either on Zoom.
No, I'm
Oh,
good.
the person whose name is Becky, if you were here for this item, do you want to unmute yourself and say so? If not, you may remain muted.
Just for clarity. If there is,
I was expecting to get so much information. I just glanced at it. What are the sums here?
$525 for a set of invoices. The property remains out of compliance.
Still out of compliance?
$525 of unpaid invoices issued June 6, June 22nd, 7/5, 7/25, August 16th, sorry, I skipped to 7/12 and 6/14. I think you're a little bit out of order there.
Yeah.
$75 each, $525 total.
It seems odd that we take an appeal until the person is in compliance. I mean, how can we even appeal, how can they even appeal? That process seems a little out of whack.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Alder Scannell. So as soon as they're issued an inspection fee, it's due. So they have 30 days to appeal from the time the invoice is issued. So this appeal is for the inspection fees only, not regarding sort of an underlying non-compliance issue. And I feel like we'd probably get into the merits a little bit more if we said more about the non-compliance, but just on the inspection fees. As soon as they're issued, they're due.
Would it be wise to amend that to, instead of 30 days after it's been issued, to, you can issue 30 days after you're in compliance, you can, you can...
Oh, to appeal, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah, we could sort of take that as a suggestion, maybe outside of this,
Right,
well,
we
maybe a
wouldn't-
communication on that, Alder, would be appropriate if, sort of outside of this immediate discussion about this case.
Is that a communication worthwhile?
They're all worthwhile.
Oh, don't tell me that. We can talk after.
Okay. So I don't guess none of us have heard anything from the individual.
No.
They were aware that it was going to be on for tonight,
Yes.
so.
Here we go again, he's gonna say, oh, I didn't know, oh, I this or that. A motion to deny.
Okay, second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nay? Ayes have it. Do I have a time?
I don't know, I feel we've been too easy on Bill tonight. I don't know.
makes up for.
You want to?
Number 9.
No mean.
Obviously, if we hear from the person, you can review this at committee or at council.
Mr. Chairman?
Can we do it, right?
Sure. Thank you.
Motion to, do we need to make a motion to
Yeah,
recess
motion
for 5 minutes?
Recess for 5 minutes.
Okay, that's fine.
Aye?
I'm gonna pause the recording.
Can we turn the heat on in here?
No, I'm fine. Here, where are my coats?
I think the heat is on,
They were
I
here.
just,
They're not usually always this long.
I'm getting ready.
Okay, Joe.
Coming over me? Gotcha. Yeah, good luck.
It's not too often that this pretty substantive item.
I heard, Lacey told me.
Look at this, you need to point out.
Ripping this place apart. By the time it heats up, it'll be gone.
Is it blowing hot air?
15 degrees outside. We're gonna try to heat up.
It's freezing. My fingers are frozen.
Yeah.
It's a BS.
Well, I was gonna say if it's blowing hot air, why are we blowing it at the cold window? But if it's blowing cold air, that makes sense.
The room on the other side of the hallway is like 90 degrees.
Yeah.
Terry, how you been, man?
How are you?
You met Terry? This is the new president of Brown County. Terry Hansen, she owns State Street.
I like this communication.
I don't feel like that was an appropriate response.
They're all good communications.
I think that's like there are no stupid questions.
That's-
It's just patently false.
Mr. Melody, you're gracing us with your presence this evening.
Hey, good to see you again.
Is this just for an introduction, or did you come to speak on a
No,
agenda
just,
item?
this is the new president of Brown County Tavern. This is
Nice.
Terry Hansen,
Hi.
so. Hello.
Hello. Well, we're on recess. We can introduce ourselves.
Decided to, not watch Monday Night Football, instead
I'm
come and
Lindsay.
enjoy a different.
Department.
Yeah.
Nice.
Really
This is Attorney
fun.
Mather, Lindsay. Hi, Attorney Wood.
Hello.
Hi. I generally work with the clerk's office on liquor licensing matters, among other things.
She's got a good brain.
So did I hear that you now have a statewide role? Is that like
I'm
abandoned?
on the state board, yeah, I'm on the exec board for the tavern, which
you
I
know-
was for like 2 years, so I was when I talked to you even too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just
Oh,
come-
that's right. I realized it. But, you know, Lindsay and I stopped by one day for a
It's
drink, and we were like, tell Dom's there. We're like, tell Dom we said hi.
Yeah, when was this?
It was a while ago.
It was a while
warm.
ago.
It was warm,
Yeah.
but.
And it was like, it was after work and the bartender was like, oh, he's usually here much earlier in the day.
Yeah, I usually get there like 5 to 8.
Yeah.
I think I just did.
What's
So
the
check.
Everybody's kind of cold.
I thought I did. By the time it gets warm, it'll be,
Yes.
we'll be gone.
Freezing.
I think it's over here.
Does anybody make this?
I think it's over here.
Yes.
They just snap it back.
There's two of them.
It's Bluetooth activated.
I mean,
The
yes,
market
it's
issue
warm.
is
Than
on
here.
the other
I'm like,
side of the hallway.
I
When you go in
know.
the back room in the corner, it's like 90 degrees in there. In that room back there.
Room is always
Where are you?
warm.
You're working way too hard.
I'm trying to find the right answers. So I got hit with a call. So, just that one.
I don't know, Logan, did you adjust that thermostat over here? It's
Celsius did.
Oh, the third did, yeah.
So we're good?
Yeah.
We've been in here a while already, but it was really chilly when we started, because this was cold, I think.
Yeah.
All right. 3 through 6.
I thought we were, usually
We're not running with the project. That was Joanne's decision.
Okay.
Yeah. It's been very dramatic.
How are you? Pretty good.
That's a good question. That's what my mother would say.
And we're this. And that was on there too.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
After I started listening to this, and I saw that
Give me an update on things.
Yeah, we just passed it.
I saw that one man, I saw on Facebook.
Comments on everything, like,
Yeah,
Any comments about the dogs? I
Guys,
was
different
thinking about
color.
his vehicles, vehicles everywhere and on the street and all that. So I looked it up on my phone, I saw it's the exact same house.
Alder.
State the street is out, will ya?
Life been good?
Yeah, how about you?
Randy, let's go.
All right, we're live.
Do your politicking later.
Yeah.
Talk about your political environment.
Okay, we're all set to
We're
go.
going to resume the recording if we're ready.
Ready?
Recording in progress.
All right, we're back into open session. Number 9, consideration possible action on appeal by Frank Paul regarding denial of his operator's license. Attorney?
Sure, I will defer to the police department to state the reason for denial, and then the appellant can make their case.
Reason for denial is going to be for convicted felon status, although we recognize that it's been 15 years since that conviction.
Okay, thank you. The motion open the floor?
Oh, motion on the floor.
Second. Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Dave?
I think we're in a quasi
If you could state your name and your address for the record, please.
Frank Paul, 2300 Preble Avenue, apartment 7, Green Bay, Wisconsin, 54302.
Yeah, thank you.
I've been through a lot, like that, what she stated from 15 years ago. You learn what you do. Also, part of it was some DUIs, which came to realize where you realize how little you need to be over the amount in a sense. But since then, I held my bar license and always been responsible for my bar license for 5-6 years after the last situation. I have my son 100%. I was out of bartending for about 1.5 years, 2 years, but I want to do it so I get extra money besides the third shift job I work to make things meet. And it's also something I'm really good at and I enjoy doing. It's hard to find something you enjoy going into and be good at it at the same time. So it's like, and plus that, being around the people is kind of therapeutic, being able to talk to people. I love my son and 6-year-old, but you need that adult conversation too at times sometimes. So, but yeah, so that's why I was going for the bar license, get that extra money to, with the way everything's going, to make ends meet, rent going up, stuff like that.
I got no question. Fine. I mean, you realize that it was state statute that is denying your license, but the law is written as such that you can appeal it and we can, but because you have the felony on your record, staff automatically has to.
Right, and they have
Okay.
already, like, 'cause I've been through this before the first time around for my bar license. I went to the council, explained the whole situation. It was, I was fighting it, and then the lawyer gave me advice to go one way or the other, and then I couldn't appeal it any further. It's just a lot, I just went through all the steps to get it done, probation, everything. And I've been in the service industry for 13 years, up till 2021, with having a bar license for that time. And that was all after having that conviction. So.
Okay, thanks. Yeah.
When did you get your first bartender's license? After the convictions?
It was all after the convictions, yeah.
And then you appealed and were able to get a license?
Yep, I went through the whole thing. I think I came back 2 or 3 times. And then I went to, I think, where the mayor is there, is that it was the final council meeting? I can't remember what it was, but the mayor was there with the whole.
Right, final
thing,
council
and then
meeting.
it got approved.
Like, this will go to council next Tuesday, same thing.
Right, and then it got approved, and I kept renewing it, and I should have renewed it in June, and I wouldn't have had an issue, but there was no bar job, so I wasn't going for a job at that time, so I'm like, we'll be fine, and then all of a sudden, opportunity presented itself, and I'm like, she's like, you're just short, and I'm like, so she goes, you gotta go through everything. I thought maybe but with a new police chief, it also changes, where he knew it changes the person's outlook on what happened.
So who are you employed by now?
Whiskey Barrel on Main Street.
And how long have you been there?
September.
Anybody here to speak on your behalf?
No.
Okay.
Thank you. I have also went through, like, the counseling for when I thought about getting, been in contact to try to get the counselor I had for when I had a DUI, because she said to get her, like, a character witness, in a sense, and what she thinks, stuff like that, but I wasn't sure what all to, and she hasn't got back to me yet, so.
Any other questions?
Nope. Motion to approve.
Can I ask
The
one
appeal. Oh,
question?
you have a question? Okay, yeah.
I have a question for Law,
Mhm.
or our clerk. Is he allowed to 10 bar without a license if there's a licensee on the premise?
Mhm.
So this felony doesn't affect him having a job there, it's just if which employee would want to hire him without a
Right.
license, right? Okay.
One person is required to have an operator license.
Right, I understand.
Motion to approve the appeal. It's been 15 years, he's had a license, he hasn't been in any trouble since, so I don't see how the,
Excuse me, Alders, you have to close the floor.
Motion to close the floor.
motion to close the floor. I keep thinking we're in
All
still.
in favor?
Somebody judicial.
Aye.
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 Nay. Aye.
Okay, now motion to approve.
All right, do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nay? Ayes have it.
Still has to go to council, sir.
Okay.
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
I'll email you.
That's it, okay.
Number 10, consideration with possible action on appeal by Christine Gross?
Gorst.
Gorst, sorry.
Yeah, it's fine.
Regarding denial of her operator's license. Attorney?
Again, I'll defer to the police department to state why they denied it, and then give the appellant an opportunity to speak on her behalf.
Please.
Denial came automatically because of the history of OWIs, multiple. Again, I think the last one for this one was 8 years for difference. But
8 years.
8 years.
Okay.
Motion to open the floor.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nay? Ayes have it. If you could please come up.
Motion, sorry. He's used to seconding his.
If you could state your name and your address for the record, please.
Christine Gorst, 430 North Huron Street, Depew. What else do I need to say?
Yeah, well, anything you care to say, I
Yeah.
mean, it's-
So this is an
This is your time
opportunity
to-
to just talk about what you do now, and where you work now, and how
All right,
you may
I
have
might have to
changed.
sit.
You're basically just sort of rehabilitating yourself in terms of the denial.
Yes, yes. So I'm here because I've re-entered the industry of service. I'm normally a logistics, warehouse, distribution, forklift driver person, and I've decided that I don't want to be in that anymore. So I returned to school, and I'm doing online classes for hospitality, event management. So that's an adventure for me. However, I took the job at Lambeau Field for Delaware North, which requires all the employees to have an operator's license, even if there is a licensed person on. I wasn't given a reason why. I would expect from working there. That's maybe because the place is so big, there might not always be somebody right on that site. Working there though since June, only seasonal, temporary. I'm a supervisor of the concessions there, which the groups work the concessions. I make sure the groups are working. I haven't yet had to serve anybody anything or been in the capacity to have to, but although I see that I could be. I did submit some letters, I hope you have them, for my I guess my sobriety for the last, I'm gonna say about 30 years worth. The last has been 9 solid. Over the history, there's been 2 relapses. Each lines up in an offense, whether it takes a while to get the offense or not. If you refer, I want to clarify something that my daughter wrote in case you're considering it. She is 28 years old, an adult. So what she's reflecting to in here was like when she was little. She put in here that I lost my children, and I did not. I don't know if that's her perception or if that's what she thinks. I did not. Back in those dark periods of my life, their active father, I transferred them over for a little while so I could, I don't think I needed to get clean back then, but I definitely needed to get better. And so he did that, and then we shared them. And when it came time for that, again, they were established and they were doing well, so I didn't want to take them from that. So we've co-parented through that whole time. I just want to clarify, I don't want anybody thinking that I was sued to get my kids or they were taken away. It wasn't anything like that. I don't know what she thinks about that. I might ask her. What I've done since is stated, I believe, by Alyssa Harris from Bellin. She's my therapist that makes sure that I stay on track for relapse prevention and for the emotional issues that usually trigger that. So I'm regular with her. Katie Lyons, did you receive a letter from her? I don't have it here. She is the medication psychiatrist, APNP or whatever she's called. But she's at my Bellin team as well.
I just gave them a copy of what you gave me.
Yes, but I think Katie might have sent hers.
Oh, okay.
And I
I'm
know
not sure
Alyssa
about
sent
that.
hers.
We have Alyssa's, yeah.
Okay.
Just wanted to clarify.
Okay, that's fine.
What you gave me.
And so I just continue that programs. For civically, I am an officer at the Green Bay Moose Lodge. I'm also on the state chair for the Wisconsin Association. I'm also on the board of directors for Celebrate De Pere. And why I bring that, I guess why I think that's important is because I have opportunity all the time to pick up, and I choose not to. And I'm definitely a lot stronger than I was even 15 years ago. So I guess that's where I am with that. And then, even if I don't stay at Delaware North, I think that it would be beneficial to me to be able to obtain an operational license going forward to whatever goals I need to make. I don't ever excuse what I've done, and I'm also going by the length of time in between. It doesn't make it any better, but there has been some time that has gone by for all of them. So I hope that you reconsider.
The way the state statute is written, it gives us some wiggle room to, it doesn't just say you have a felony and that's it. It gives us a little wiggle. So one of the things we use is time. If it's been time, well then it's no longer relates to the offense.
I do not have a felony. None of them were felonies.
Oh.
I got underneath the time before the fourth one was considered a felony
Oh,
now, so
because
none
it's,
of mine are felonies.
Right, yep.
I do apologize, I couldn't find my second offense that matters because I'm on 4, but it was on CCAP, but I was suddenly not there. But I lost my train of thought, I'm sorry. But anyway, and I'm not, I don't have any felonies for that.
Right. It was, I'm sorry, Officer mentioned, she didn't mention felony, she mentioned that it was related to the job, which is alcohol. It's the same thing, with felony or that.
I get it.
We use the same.
I do understand that, the licenses aren't just given out and, to anybody. I understand that. So I just wanted to make sure that, I understood that. There's a reason I'm saying that. Okay, just move on. I'm lost my thought there.
Okay.
Could you repeat the last thing you just said?
I misspoke, that I mentioned felony, but that was not actually what this was all about. It was about how it relates to the job as with alcohol, and over the, a series of times, so. But the last one being 8 years ago, we still have that wiggle room.
Absolutely, and I get that. So, I'm sure that if anybody knows anything about the process, it's, you're never better. You can just be better. So that's been my plan. I've been good for that for quite a long time now.
So how long have you stopped drinking?
I'm just starting my 9th year. I think it's like February, my 9th year.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm trying.
Did you supply these?
I did. I brought those today, and I just brought them I remember what I was going to say. I brought those to show, just to show the offense dates in case you didn't have them handy. And then also that I've never, without the felonies, I noticed in that, I was troubled by the letter that I was sent with the denial with that paragraph in, because I kind of feel labeled, and it was kind of judged, and I don't, not going there, but that's why I brought those, because it also stated in there that I'm like a habitual criminal. I get it about that, but I don't feel like a habitual criminal. But also, I've never had any probation or parole with, hooked onto the sentences. Just did the time, paid the fines, and that was it. But that paragraph alluded to that, and I wanted to clarify that.
I just was wondering about a clarification. I mean, to me, it doesn't matter, 3 or 4 or whatever. I'm looking at this third page here, and it says, on 3/1/16, action was dismissed on prosecutor's motion. I don't know if this is something you'd have to answer. Court official, Honorable Judge Timothy Hinkfuss. Was the whole charge dismissed, or was it just the enhancer?
Just the enhance, oops, I'm sorry.
Yeah, just the enhancement.
So she does have, she's had 4 convictions. Like I say, 3 or 4 don't matter to me. That's 3 or 4 I wish would never have happened.
You're very right to think that. You're very right to think that.
Okay.
8 years have passed.
Well, should we close the floor?
Oh, yeah.
Anything else?
No, that was it, just the clarification that I haven't, my kids weren't ever taken away from me, and that there wasn't any felonies, and a long time's gone by.
Yep, yep. Okay, thank you. Motion to close the floor.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nays? Ayes have it.
Motion to approve the appeal.
Do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Nay? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
And then goes to council next week for final approval.
Okay, do I need to come to that?
You do not.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
We're on to our informational section.
Yes. So this would just, we're releasing to the pool the Class Bs, which is good because we need one. We had some reserve applications approved tonight, so that's just what we need to tell you, that we're releasing one to the pool. And that is all I have.
All right, thank you. Receive and place on file.
Motion to receive it and place it on file.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
He's calling for a second. Yeah.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn it.
Did we have something that you people wanted to discuss with us?
Just saying aye.
They're from the tavern lane.
I know you're with the
Let's close up
tavern.
shop.
Yep.
Motion to adjourn.
That was supposed to come here for the approval of a liquor license.
Oh, you were approved a long time
It
ago.
was, yes, it was already done.
Oh, I didn't know.
That's
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, yeah. Yeah,
So-
we did that right at the beginning.
Is it?
Oh, sorry.
It goes
What's
fast.
your,
Yeah.
what's the address?
Motion to adjourn.
1706 Main
I got
Street.
it.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. Yeah, we're done.
1706
We're done.
Main? Yes,
Yes.
it was approved.
Oh my God.
Oh, you've been sitting here. Well, thank you for joining us.
Hey, you got to
At least I
learn.
got one more.
I hope you found it entertaining.
Yeah, that, 'cause